Week 3 has come to a close, and it is a 3-horse race at the top with Neil, Chris, and Schaefer all sitting at 3-0. Yours truly, still the only one to hit the win column. It is episode 4, week 3 recap, JY's quick 3 minutes with bonus coverage on the end. In the first matchup, it was Team Siegel getting into the win column 164-114. Emphatic win as all the Eagles on Siegel's team soar, and he finally makes a great defensive play to get the statement win. For Sleeper, the one Eagle not to perform on the day just so happened to be on his squad. It didn't really matter though. Wilson and Mayfield are the standouts. Sleeper to 1-2. They face myself next week. Moving on, it is JD5 slipping again to 1-2 after coming up short to Schaefer, 100-76. It wasn't the most convincing win, but hey, 3-0 is 3-0. Will Mike Evans' injury bring Schaefer his first loss next week? Time will tell. For JD5, last in points 4, with not even 250 points through 3 weeks, it may be time for the alarm bells as Kim truly doesn't have a wide receiver 1 in the squad. They face Siegel next week. Moving on, Neighbors gets into the win column for the first time in a very competitive matchup, 130-123 over Charles, the best player in the league, Young. Vikings defense performs for Young, Hampton, and Scatabo, or for Neighbors, excuse me. For Vikings, Hampton, and Scatabo do lead the way. For Young, 8 of 9 score in double figures, but it's not enough as Young falls to 1-2, facing Schaefer at 3-0 next week. Regular season merchant he is. Neil Norris moves to 3-0 as he has just been dominant. Taylor, Walker, Nakua, Judkins, and Murray lead the way as a 129-94 victory over Emmanuel's team as Sutton and Collins perform in a disappointing outing for the squad. FC Baltimore gets a nice win to move to 2-1 and into 4th place over Infinity and Bajan, as Montgomery and Jackson and Cook lead the way for a big-time win over the defending champ. Big test next week versus Norris' squad for Baltimore. For Isaiah and Bajan, Jordan Mason shines in his debut as RB1 in Minnesota, but otherwise a disappointing week. Jones and Pickens also perform. They face a tough 3-0 team and Chris Wolf next week. Speaking of Chris Wolf, he's 3-0. Little Chubb is growing into a monster squad. Unbeaten through the opening 3 weeks, Gibbs, Allen, Smith and Jigma, and Pierce Saul lead the way. For myself, alarm bells are sounding. Major meltdown for my camp as CD injury and Connor injury force a desperate trade so that I can get in the win column hopefully next week. I face Sleeper at 1-2. That rounds out the quick 3 minutes for this week. Let's dive in. There was 2 big-time trades this week as I had to make a move. Connor's season-ending injury coupled with CD's month-long injury forces my hand to make a desperate trade. I do pick up Javonte Williams, who has been a standout so far this year in Dallas to help strengthen the running back room. Wan'Dale Robinson has been a pleasant surprise in New York, although just hearing the news of Jackson Dart getting the nod in New York may cause some concern to see how Robinson's performance is impacted by that trade. For Emmanuel, he does pick up CD. CD will be on the injury list until week 6 or 7. So a potentially desperate move. He does lose a flex in Williams, but his team doesn't hit hard too badly. It'll just depend on whether or not he can get a win or 2 before CD gets back to keep himself into the playoff race. In the other trade, Minjun also feeling some desperate times as not even scoring 250 points through the opening 3 weeks. He gives up Trey Benson, the Arizona running back who now is in at the running back 1 position after James Conner's injury. In addition, Minjun picks up Downs to strengthen the wide receiver room. But for Isaiah, who's also feeling some desperation at 1-2, the defending champ, does give away Chase Brown, but honestly, maybe not a bad move given the catastrophe that is the Bengals offense right now. So that does kind of round out the trading corner. However, before we do end, I do want to jump in and just take a look at those 4 teams quickly. Here, we do have Isaiah Braxton's squad. He does pick up Benson, highlighted in the running back 2 position under Bijan. So not a bad 1-2 punch there. Brian Thomas Jr. thought he was going to be a steal, only position ranking 51 through the opening 3 weeks. That is quite disappointing. George Pickens has been a nice surprise. Tucker Kraft as well, especially considering Kraft was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last tight end off the board, or at least the last tight end 1, so to speak, drafted. The 12th tight end off the board drafted, as Isaiah, I believe, did wait to get tight end last. It is paying off. Matthew Golden has been a little disappointing in Green Bay, but he will have to fill in for Josh Downs as Downs departs Braxton's squad. Let's move on. Let's take a look at the other side of that trade. Let's go to Minjun's squad here. It is a bit concerning. T. Higgins in the Bengals offense just absolutely struggling, as Chase Brown also joins the team. So a bit of a Cincinnati stack perhaps for Minjun. Maybe ill-advised, but we will see how that pays out. Gianti has been disappointing. Ridley has been extremely disappointing, although Andrews may be some life. Debo, after his first 2 opening weeks, falls off a decent bit. But, you know, not awful, but he needs to start getting production from his top guys if he wants to compete. Now let's take a look at the other trade. Let's go to Emmanuel's squad here. He does pick up, where is he? He does pick up CeeDee Lamb, which for whatever reason is in his flex position right now. As you see, he does have Keenan Allen still on his bench, who has been an absolute standout for him. What a steal that was. Wide receiver 7. Neighbors and Collins. Maybe Collins is finally waking up. And, you know, Hall and Kamara, not too shabby in the running back position. They just need to start picking up the production. But, you know, if Emmanuel can snag a win or 2, maybe when CD returns in week 6 or 7, he can make a strong push for the playoffs. And then, of course, rounding out the trade, let's go to yours truly, to my team here. And man, oh man, it is ugly. DJ Moore has been very disappointing. Bucky Irving has been fine. We do pick up Javonte Williams in the trade, and Wan'Dale Robinson, who has actually been pleasantly surprising so far. As we take a look at Wan'Dale Robinson here, as we take a look at Robinson, and I apologize, he is a bit cut off here in the picture, but we see his stats through the opening couple weeks, and I mean, it's not awful. One dud of a week, but, you know, 6 receptions for 55 yards. He's just not in the end zone week 1, and of course the standout performance in week 2. But, you know, Javonte Williams, that is the man who has been absolutely surprising and standing out so far. Double-digit carries through all 3 matchups. He's found the end zone 3 times. Didn't find the end zone last week, but hopefully can continue as he will fill the void for James Conner, who hits the IR. So with that being said, that does round out the week 3 recap. A little bonus coverage this week for you. Without further ado, the commish saying good luck to everyone in week 4.